Alrighty, everyone. So, welcome to a special bonus video. Right now, I am live here with my audience after the end of Diablo 4. We wrapped up the campaign. We've got a little bit of extra time here tonight. That's why everything's red. It was in honor of Diablo 4. And I said, let's just chat for a little bit. Let's hang out. Let's see what you guys want to discuss. A little bit of Q&A here open tonight for, 20, 30 minutes or whatever. See how it goes. Looks like a small tip came in. From Murray saying, congrats on your completion. Don't know if you heard about it, but... Oh, I don't care about that. I don't give two shits about any of that nonsense. You don't ever have to distract me with bullshit from idiots. I don't care. Okay. Nobody cares. Alright. Mr. Puzzle says he's currently playing Alan Wake Remastered. Enjoy. It's a good way to get ready for Alan Wake 2 this fall. Nathan Smith says, I would like to see you play The Darkness 1, a first-person shooter with dark powers. I know all about it. I played The Darkness 2, and I loved it. I thought that The Darkness 2 was an absolutely outstanding game when I played it. We played The Darkness 1 for a Halloween marathon, and I hated it. I tried to play it, and the game didn't really explain anything really about how to properly play it. And I got lost and confused. The graphics were bad, by the way, and that's not surprising. It's a very old game. But I remember trying to play it and just really detesting it and wondering what a difference between The Darkness 1 and The Darkness 2, that the first game seemed so confusing and just not self-explanatory, while the second game was a huge action-packed game that was fun and had a great story. It was like completely different for me, okay? But the thing is, The Darkness 1's a very old game. So it very well could be that they improved upon that formula to make the sequel. That's why I liked the sequel so much when it came out as a new release, and I didn't like the new one, or the original, when I tried to play it many years later. So I did try to play it. Sadly, I didn't like it. Ghost says, what do you think of the new Silent Hill trailers? Which one was your favorite? I haven't seen any of them. I didn't even know there were formal trailers for the new Silent Hill. There are? I missed them. Double M says, thoughts on RPGs that come out so far this year? If you can spout out a few names of RPGs you'd like me to talk about, I will. Off the top of my head, I'm not going to be able to come up with all of them. So if you give me some names, I'll answer that. Okay, let's see here. Chef Boyardee says you also did it during a marathon when you had like 1,000 things to play. That is true. Remember, we were doing a Halloween marathon. And that was one of many games that people had nominated me to play. And I was like, well, I didn't really like it that much. Bleach number 9 says the name Lilith can remind me of Darkstalkers. Do you remember playing as her and Morgan back in the day? Of course. They were two of the best characters in Darkstalkers 3 and beyond, actually. Although I think Lilith actually got toned down later because she was really good in Darkstalkers 3, but then they made her worse, I think, after that. SD Charger said you should start Fallout 3 for your 15-year event. I don't think we're starting any lengthy RPGs for my 15-year event. If it is, it'll be like an anniversary one that makes sense. For example, like Fable 2, which was one of my earliest playthroughs I ever did. I don't think we should formally start a Bethesda game at this point. That'd be pretty stupid, because I don't have time to continue it throughout the fall. It would make sense to start that end of the year into next year. One Button Dash says, you hear a new Mel Gibson film, Sound of Freedom, has blown away Indiana Jones 5 times at the box office, and Hollywood is trying to ignore it? No, I don't know anything about it. Mark says, it is great to see fighting games doing well. Street Fighter 6 sold millions of copies. No, it sold 2 million copies. Plus, I really enjoyed the King of Fighters during the last 16 to 17 months. Are you excited for MK1? I mean, yes, MK1 seems like it's going to be good with the cameo fighters or whatever, but, I'll reserve judgment till I play it, but it looks good. It's good that they're rebooting the plot line again, but it's kind of lame they've already done it, and now they're doing it again. Like, the first reboot was good, and I feel like they actually went too fast through it. Like, in one game, they covered the plot line of 4. So it kind of, like, fast-forwarded through so much, right? Like, maybe they should have taken their time. Like, it was cool to see, like, the robot ninjas back, and the next thing you know, they were out of the next one. Like, what happened? They're already gone, right? So, I guess this is their opportunity to do that over again. I guess we'll see how it goes. Slayer, good evening. He says he can't wait for his private React videos tomorrow. He's been rewatching the past year private patron videos. That's the cool thing, is that you keep them forever. When you go to my Patreon, if you're not aware, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/DarksidePhil. For a $50 pledge in a month, you get a private video. It could be Q&A, where I just answer questions privately for you. It could be a React video of your own choice, 20, 25 minutes long. It's your call. So whatever you want in that private video. And Slayer's been buying the rights to private React videos for about a year now. And so he has a year of stuff he can go back and rewatch at his own leisure. It's pretty awesome, So consider it. Give it a look. Nathan Smith says, do you think Metal Gear Rising will be in the Metal Gear collection? Metal Gear Rising Revengeance? No, I don't think so. I think that collection will likely stay to the classic Kojima games, Kojima design games. I don't think that one would be in it, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I wouldn't expect it to be in it. Mr. Puzzle says I should do a retro event with retro games all day. I think we may do something like that in August. To celebrate my 15-year history as a content creator, I think we're going to do several special things over the month of August, which otherwise is an incredibly dead month for game releases. So I think we're going to see a retro style event, a retrospective style event, a Project 7 event. Like, I predict we're going to do a bunch of those special things. It should be pretty fun. Aseo says, now Diablo 4 is officially done. What's the next playthrough I plan on doing? Again, we haven't decided yet. This week, we will have one night open, Tuesday night. Here's what I'm thinking, is that since we haven't done it in a month, I should do a chill night stream of the Street Fighter World Tour mode for this week. Alright, I'm not saying we're going to do it endlessly. I'm just saying let's do one stream of it Tuesday night. So that means tomorrow would be the React show. Monday would be Street Fighter 6 multiplayer and Zelda Endgame. Tuesday would be Final Fantasy 16 and the World Tour mode of Street Fighter 6. And then Wednesday would be multiplayer Street Fighter 6 and the end of Zelda. And then next week, we can start new stuff. Whether that means you want me to go back to Elden Ring and bring that back as a playthrough we balance with other stuff. Whether it means you want me to actually start a new game like Amnesia the Bunker. You know, we could talk about that over the next several days. We could try to figure this out. Saints Row 2 to replace Diablo? No, not yet. I do want to do retro games, but I think we're going to do those in August. I don't really want to jump the gun on like a throwback playthrough right immediately, but I do think I want to do Saints Row 2 in August because that's one that I did very, very early on. It was one of the first games. It was a new release at the time. One of the first games I ever played on YouTube on my original Dark Side Phil channel, but it wasn't a full playthrough. It was just highlights, okay? And I didn't really showcase the whole game. Of course, it wasn't an interactive playthrough. There was no stream, no direct capture. I mean, playing that game will be like playing it for the first time, really. So, Jade, have a good night. So, see ya. See you taking off? All right, have a good night, Jade. What do I think about Tekken being on next gen only? Will it hurt Xbox sales more? How would it hurt Xbox sales when Xbox is next gen? What does that mean, Mr. Puzzles? First of all, it's not next gen, it's current gen. Current gen would be PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. So I have no idea what you're saying. North Scott, we're done. We beat it. Diablo 4 is done. Beat it easily, too. It wasn't even a big deal. Yes, I know Alan Wake 2 is digital only. I agree with the decision. I think most games will be digital only moving forward. Give it a year or two, it's going to be across the board. The only way you're going to get a disc is if you spend extra money for the like special ultra collector's edition where you're also getting, you know, a statue or a collectible and a bunch of other shit. Just the production cost isn't warranted anymore when the game you're buying literally is not on the game disc. And I think the game developers are seeing it that way. They don't care about it anymore. Slayer says, you know, I'm enjoying your Final Fantasy 16 playthrough. I enjoy the story and the cutscenes a lot. I like the game with a lot of content. I'm enjoying your rage reactions to the endless cutscenes. Good. Yeah, again, I don't dislike the game. I just want it to be interesting, and it's just not interesting half the time, but then it gets good, you know? So I'm actually looking forward to Tuesday's stream, because today we had a little bit of plot development, like a little bit like this much, and I got a chocobo I can ride now, which is pretty cool. But outside of that, nothing much happened. So I'm hoping that more will happen when I play it as a major stream on Thursday, because it was kind of slow today. No, I did not see a Tekken 8 trailer. I saw the cinematic thing, but I haven't seen any gameplay of it. Vic Vinegar says, I'm super disappointed in your RPG playthroughs recently. I feel like all you care about is Street Fighter. You're rushing through everything else. Let me get this straight. You think that my 50-hour playthrough of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was rushed? 50 hours. 50. 5-0. You think that was rushed? No. What's happened is, sadly, all these RPGs came out together, and they're all insanely long. And there's no way that I could play any of them at a rate that satisfies anyone unless I drop the others. That's the problem. There was no way for me to do a 100-hour playthrough of Zelda, a 50-hour playthrough of Diablo 4, and an 80-hour playthrough of Final Fantasy 16 at the same time. It's not physically, humanly possible. It's just not. If they had come out spaced out, I probably would have played them a little bit more slowly. But the way it happened is they're interesting for a certain period of time. No, I can't play them all at a snail's pace because it would take me... I literally, if I had played all those games long form, okay? Just think of it this way. I wouldn't have even finished them by the fall. I would not have finished Zelda, Diablo, and Final Fantasy 16 by the time the new releases were coming out in September. I would have still been playing them. And that means no anniversary event or any celebration over the summer, not playing Street Fighter 6. What, are you crazy? I'm sorry, but sadly, these games, you know, they're designed in a lot of ways to be the only game you play. That's not me, guys. I'm a variety streamer. You have to understand that if you want to see me play the games, I can't be putting in 100 hours into one game unless it's the only RPG I'm playing and 3 came out in a month that you wanted. You're blaming the wrong person. If you're disappointed in my playthroughs, sadly, you've got to be disappointed in two groups. The game developers making these games so long, and the viewers who demanded I played all 3 at once. Because I outright said at the end of May, I would rather only play 1 or 2, or 1 only, to balance with Street Fighter and have a focus on it. And everyone demanded, no, you can't skip Zelda. It's like Game of the Year contender. What are you, crazy? You can't skip Diablo. Diablo's the first time in over a decade there's a Diablo game and everyone wants to see you play Diablo. Are you insane? You're going to skip a mainline numbered Final Fantasy? It's like, dude, you can't do it. Yeah, I can't do it all. I'm one dude. I'm here 6 days a week full time. And you expect me to play 300-hour RPGs. It's not happening. It's a realm of fantasy. It can't realistically happen. You understand? You just can't. So, simply put, I'm doing my best to juggle everything. Some people understand, some people don't. I can't please everyone all the time. But if you were going into June with the expectation that I was somehow going to play 3 insanely long RPGs full time, and actually do 100-hour playthroughs of all of them at the same time, you're nuts. There's no freaking way I was doing that. I outright told you that. I definitely tempered expectations. I said, you have to expect what things are going to be, you see. Slayer said, I think people are expecting you to be good at Street Fighter 6 without playing it much and then focusing on playing RPGs and Street Fighter 6 a few times a week. Right, and that's the thing. You have to understand, I explained that about Street Fighter 6 as well, going into June. I told you guys, if you really want to see me try to get good at Street Fighter again, to get back to where I was at a level of competition or a competitive player, I have to be playing it a lot. And the other thing is, as a variety content creator, you guys don't want to see Blanca all day, right? You want variety. You want to see me try the new character. Even if it means I fail, at least I'm learning and you see the new character and we all see variety in the game. You don't just want one thing constantly all the time. So I need to be taking time to do that. And if I do that, that means that's time away from everything else. And that also means I'm going to be behind the other competitive players playing the game because they're all sitting down playing 1 or 2 characters. I'm sitting here playing 10. I mean, I've used, what, 11, 12 characters out of the 18 already? And still people were actually mad that this week I'm not using a new character. Like, you're not using a new character this week? You said you were doing a new character this week. I'm like, you know, you can't do everything. Again, what it is, this is both the blessing and the curse of being a variety content creator. Allow me to explain what I mean by that. The blessing of being a variety creator, like me, is that I never run out of content. I literally can never run out of content because people would love to see me cover anything. Whether it's a fighting game, a puzzle game, a shooter, an RPG, a platformer, an exploration game, a narrative-based choose-your-own-adventure game, a horror, survival horror game, a narrative-based horror game. You know, I could keep going. Basically, all those games are things, classic platformers, classic real games. They all fit into my wheelhouse, right? I'm a jack of all trades. So because of that, I will always have content to put out for you guys till the day I freaking die. There'll be something to do on stream every day. We'll never be bored. That's cool. But on the flip side of that, the double-edged sword of being the variety content creator is that everyone wants everything and I can't please everyone, right? I started all on YouTube way back when in 2009 as a Street Fighter player playing Street Fighter 4. That's where I got a lot of my notoriety, and a lot of my initial interest in views came from that. So when Street Fighter 5 came out, people were excited to see me do that again, and then the game was terrible. And I hated it, and people were so disappointed. And what's happened is in the last decade, a lot of people who used to like my content gravitated away from it when they realized I wasn't going to cover fighting games like that anymore, right? But now with Street Fighter 6, a unique opportunity, a restarting of the franchise from a competitive level, from a presentation standpoint, from a content standpoint, and people really wanted to see if I could do it. Guess what? I've done it. In 1 month, I went from being a 0, knowing nothing about modern Street Fighter, to someone who is in the midst of the higher ranked players. I'm not the master level yet, but I'm actually in the upper echelon of people playing this game, and I'm hanging there. That's pretty crazy. I never expected that. I thought at best I'd just get bodied a bunch, and at least people would enjoy the content of seeing me get slapped around. I didn't think I was going to have more wins than losses, and I was going to go into higher ranks and shit. Like, this is way, way beyond what I ever expected. So, and I'm happy for that, obviously, you know? But at the same time, for me to do that, right, I've basically got to get to a situation where I have to balance everything. And that means if I was going to put that much time into Street Fighter this month to do it, everything else was going to suffer. So choose one RPG. No, Phil, there's 3 RPGs coming out. You must play them all. Well, that's where it breaks. That's where it breaks. You know what I mean? Like, something has to suffer. So what ended up happening was I really didn't get to sink enough time into the RPGs to make them insanely lengthy, full-on playthroughs. I agree. Diablo, I did side content for, 5 hours, and then went right to the story, and that was the playthrough. And that's a 20-hour playthrough. It's done, right? Zelda, it's a 100-hour game with all the content. I've now played about 50. We'll probably beat it this week around 55 hours. Oh, you missed all the content. But did I? Let's see. I hit every tower. I did every geoglyph. I saw the full story. I got the Master Sword. I did all of the major dungeons. I'm in the end game. What did I miss? Oh, all the optional world-building fluff that isn't needed. So I did the key stuff. I enjoyed the game. If you're looking for a completionist run, you've basically come to the wrong place, you know. There are some games that I do take the time to do that kind of a run. For example, Yakuza Like a Dragon, or I guess you could call it, what was it, Yakuza 7? I did that because I loved the game so much, and also, guess what? There was nothing else going on at the time. So it allowed me to do that with my time on streams. But with the games like this, when there's so much going on all at once, why? Here's the real question. Why do all the game developers release all their games at once? And here's a really interesting one. Usually it never happens in June. Usually June is the slowest month, or one of the slowest months in the year for game releases. Why did they all release their games within a month? Is there any logic to it? Is anyone who makes games, or I should actually say the people in charge, like in charge of these publishers and stuff, are they looking at the gaming landscape and saying, gee, perhaps releasing 3 high-profile RPGs in 1 month is a bad idea because they'll kind of cut into each other and cannibalize each other? No one thinks this way because they're dumb. They just throw shit out there, and then they all complain. Oh my God, their sales didn't make expectations. Yeah, because you're an idiot. Because you didn't look at everything else around you and say there's too much competition, save it for when it can just be focused on as the sole game. Now we're in July. No new releases at all except Pikmin 4 and Exo Primal. Oh, big releases, right? August, there's like fucking nothing. Why did you leave 2 months empty? You could have delayed your releases till then and had them spaced out and be the only game anyone's talking about. It's idiotic. It makes no sense. And again, for me, it sucks because since I am that variety content creator, everyone wants to see me play the hot new game as soon as it comes out. Because if I play a hot new game a month or 2 later, people go, it's not that interesting anymore, right? Guys, I did my best. I can't do everything. I'm satisfied with the fact that after a month, I'm doing well at Street Fighter, and we're hanging, and we're having fun, and I'm still learning characters, trying other things, improving constantly. I'm happy I still got to play the other RPGs. If anything was going to suffer, I think the RPGs were what had to suffer. There was just too many of them in a short amount of time. D-Man re-upped his membership for 8 months and said, yabba dabba doo. Thank you, D-Man, for the support. Haseo says, smart move. 1 RPG for one for July, 1 for August. Nope, everything came out at the same time in 1 month. You're right. It was all within 30 days. Literally all within 30 days. SD Charger said it's because companies have quarterly deadlines so they can please investors. You know what would please investors more? If the game sold more and they made more money. Because rushing to reach a deadline of a quarter of income is bullshit. It's false. It's made up nonsense. It's numbers on a page. It's not thinking long term at all. It's just short term bullshit. When you're running a company, you don't just look at the immediate sales of something and write off everything else. They're idiots. They keep thinking in this very small-brained, small-windowed mentality instead of looking at the big picture. Ghost of Tsushima released in 2020. It was one of the best-selling games of the year, and it released in July. That was the test case to see if games would sell in the summer. It did. They have the evidence. They ignore the evidence because they want to still live by this culture where they don't have to fucking think. Instead, they just follow the tropes that they've come before. Everything must sell in Christmas or in one other quarter to make our earnings. That's fucking ludicrous thinking. From any kind of a logical perspective of a gamer, seeing the gaming cycle, seeing trends of how money flows, this is idiotic. It's the same reason why they all jump on bandwagons, like the Team Looter Shooter bandwagon, the Battle Royale bandwagon, they keep the games as a service bandwagon. They all bandwagon, and then the games fail because they're idiots. They don't think creatively big picture, and they're going to keep suffering for it until someone gets a brain there in charge in one of these companies. This is stupid. How about you get someone in power at a company who fucking knows something about the games industry? Right? No. We want someone who knows all about how to fucking run a fucking invoice book and a fucking, a ledger book to make money for the quarter. Well, you keep doing you. Go ahead and keep complaining when all your blockbuster games come out and fizzle out and don't sell as well as you wanted them to. Then complain how your game budgets are overbloated and it takes hundreds of millions of dollars to make a game and the game won't sell as much to make up for that. It's your fault. You're the one that fucked it up. It's not the games industry that fucked up. You did. You're in charge. You're a joke. Okay. I am the undisputed king of schedules. Well, there you go. I am such a king of schedules that if I have a stream that is slightly inconvenienced and delayed, people show up just to see what happened. Today, I'm not even kidding you. So today, I told you guys that I would have to have a stream delay or it would have to be interrupted. We had more people waiting during the interruption than when I started playing the game. When I started playing Final Fantasy 16, people left. They were around to see the interruption. That's pretty crazy. Slayer says, is there a master tier ranking just like for Diamond and below in Street Fighter 6? Yes, master is the highest level you can get. I don't know how many stars master has. I don't know if it has 5 stars or not. I'm not sure how it works in that regard. I don't know if master's different. But master's the highest tier you can achieve. In Street Fighter 6, that is. Why not get master rank in Street Fighter 6 to solidify Ghost? I mean, that's obviously the aspiration is to hit master with Blanca and hopefully maybe eventually other characters too. But the problem is the time investment. Like, for example, I've been playing with Blanca all month. Okay, I actually have the stats. I can pull the stats out thanks to people like Game Tracker who've been tracking my stats. Okay, with Blanca, I have played a total of 500 and about 520 matches total. I've won 320 and lost 194 with a 62% win ratio. And I'm in Diamond 3, okay? Now, it took me how long to play that many matches? Are you ready for this? Want to hear this? 10 ranked sessions. 10 streams of me playing Blanca. Okay. 10 streams of me playing Blanca. All right, 10. It's insane when you think about it. 10 streams. So that's what? 30 hours, 20 to 25, 30 hours of gameplay. So now, to get from Diamond 3 to Master, I don't know. It takes longer. When you get to Diamond, it's like double the amount of wins you need to rank up. So imagine now you want me to get to Master right away. I would have to play only Blanca for like the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then maybe I'd have a chance. If I win more than I lose, I'd have a chance to get to, you know, what is it? Master level or whatever. Okay? But, again, do I want to hit Master? I do. Is that all I want to do? No, of course not. All right? Okay. Anything else, guys? Any last minute questions here before we adjourn? I have to, I do have to set up the playlist for tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow now is my React day. So I have to do DSP versus the internet for tomorrow. And so I have to set up the playlist for that tonight. Haseo says 30 hours for Diamond Rank. Do you think it would be another 30 to 40 hours for Master? If I win more than I lose, but it's double the time, I would assume probably anywhere, a minimum of 10 hours if I win every match, which will never happen. Imagine if I won every match, right? But if I'm going up and down, if it's 62%, think of it that way, 62%, I would argue probably 20 more hours of gameplay of Blanca to get him to Master. I would think. I could be wrong, but that's what I would think, right? If in 5 hours, all right, I climbed essentially 2 tiers in Diamond, but that was lower end Diamond. You understand? That was like, there was some riffraff in there. There were people who just didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They didn't know how to break throws. They didn't know nothing. When you get to that upper echelon of Diamond, that's when you're playing the good players. And those people are going to be breaking every throw, jabbing through every mix-up. It's going to get real hard once you get to the top level of Diamond to make it. So, yeah, it's going to be, I would argue, 20 more hours of just Blanca to try to get him to Master, I would think. I could be wrong, but that would be my guess. You got to understand something. These people who have characters in Master likely played Street Fighter 6 as the only game they played for a month. And they're probably sitting there playing it 10 to 20 hours a day. I know you might say 20 hours, 10 to 20 hours a day. Some of these people are crazy. They're pros. This is their job. They're just fucking sitting there labbing and then going online and playing all day, every day. They're wild. That first week, they probably played the game 80 hours. Just think about that. Okay? Okay. The Blimp, I don't know if I believe that. He says Street Fighter 6 tier lists are placing Blanca at the bottom. I don't know if I believe that. I would say, at very least, he's mid. What I would think is, at top tier, he won't hang. I'm serious about that. I think that when you get to top tier, it's all people doing the mid-screen rushdown. The Kens, the Juries, the DJs, you know, that's what I believe. I don't think that anyone is actually going to be able to say that Blanca can hang at top tier when he doesn't have those options. Because that's what, it's all about that highness mix up in the corner. You can't figure out it's high, low, or throw. And whatever hits is a ginormous combo in the corner. And then it's right back to that rock, paper, scissors again after that initial, you know, rock, paper, scissors. So that's what I think. Like, I feel like that's what it is at high level. And I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. You know, it's too early really to determine. But I think he would have, at the very least, I think Blanca has a lot of advantages over other characters. I do. So I don't think he's top tier, but at the same time, I don't think he's bottom tier. I would say he's mid or higher mid tier at the least, you know? So. No, Blanca did not win the last tournament. He won the first tournament. There have been other tournaments since then. It wasn't one tournament and then no tournaments ever again. It was one tournament weeks ago, and there's been many other tournaments since then. Would I do a Street Fighter 6 character tier list? Well, actually, we were going to do a tier maker, but we never got around to it. We were going to do a Street Fighter tier maker, but it didn't happen. We might still do one eventually. Yes, with all the characters that I've played so far, I do believe, I would say either Zangief or Dalsim are both really hard to play with in Street Fighter 6. They're so weird and different from the rest of the cast. So those are probably the two hardest characters I've used so far. Who do I think should be nerfed? The only character that should ever be nerfed in a fighting game is a character that's top tier but way too easy to use. Seriously. Like, if there's a character that just definitively is better than most of the cast, but is also piss easy to use, so literally someone who doesn't even have great skill in fighting games can pick up that character and get ridiculous amount of wins, that's when you know a character's broken. It's happened a few times in fighting game history. Back in the day, there were no rebalances. It wasn't until the digital era that there were rebalances. So back then, you screw. You get a character that's easy mode, and, you know, early on in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Cable, Hyper Viper Beam comboed into itself 3 times. You could kill anyone in the game. And it was easy to do. And so every fucking scrub used that character and did the same thing and got away with it. You know, now there were ways around that eventually discovered, but that's the point I'm making, is if it's easy to do and anyone can do it and people are just using it to abuse and win constantly, that's not good. You know, the closest thing to that in Street Fighter 6 is definitely Ken, who has constant rush down, safe from so many different moves, from so many different distances, moves that just go through shit for no reason. His floaty kick, where it floats over at the perfect angle so any low attack goes under it, including supers that have invincibility, miss him when he's doing his stupid floaty kick, and it's completely safe to do. He can throw it out at any time, and it's safe. The only thing that can hit it, I believe, is like a perfectly timed, like, drive impact, but that's knowing it's coming out, you guess ahead of time. Like, there's really no effective way to punish it. That's bullshit. No character should have an insanely 100% safe at all times strategy move, and he does. So that, I think he should be nerfed a little bit. But outside of that, so far, I haven't really seen too much that needs to be changed. It's more things you have to learn. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thank you for chilling with me for this special Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope that you have a good night. And I hope to see you tomorrow. Thanks all for watching. Peace out.